Sometimes when you compromise who you are to appease others, you slowly feel yourself begin to die inside. It's been an amazing journey. I suffer. I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up.
Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Angelic Alchemy, and this is Unmasking Spiritual Deception, Liberation from Witchcraft and Narcissism. So, this is episode 21, and it is going to be surrounding the information that I came across, the knowledge and wisdom that I have obtained in this journey, particularly what I was able to put together to understand, comprehend, and discern, basically through many different means. The main one being, the Most High and my connection to the divine. And this was, what was necessary for me to get a proper perspective on what was going on and make the decision to choose myself and exit this very sadistic, narcissistic game that I had no idea I was even playing. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The more that I tap into the psychological aspects of what has transpired here, how this whole scenario, for lack of a better word, played out, and the intent behind it, the mechanics of it, the more I do not want to look any farther. But unfortunately, that is not really an option for me. This, at its core, is an obsession with control. And where you find a desperate need to control, manipulation is not far behind. And when you delve in deeper, it gets darker. When someone lives their life in this way, their need for control will intensify. And as a result, you will undoubtedly become a skilled manipulator, only allowing those around you to see the parts of you that you want them to see, telling half-truths, exaggerating conversations or situations in order to fit your desired narrative. But here's the thing about that. Even though at first it all seems innocent enough, it's devil energy. It is not rooted in truth. In fact, the entire operation revolves around intentionally withholding the truth from others in order to get them to believe a certain narrative that you're trying to feed them, and subsequently to act and treat you in a manner that you want them to treat you. That is why they say lies and gossip are actually witchcraft. When you are intentionally lying, you are attempting to alter others' perception of their reality or their truth in order to manufacture a specific outcome. That being said, there's obviously narcissism involved, and I'd say a little bit of psychopathy and Machiavellianism all day. But deep within this immense need to control, this actually ends up having the energy of sadism. Most likely, it's not conscious, for most at least. These people are not conscious when it comes to their shadow, and therefore project it out onto others. There's some kind of shared obsession with seeing a person who they view as superior to them in whatever way that is, be degraded, be broken down. Now, this could be conscious or not, depending on the individual that we're dealing with. Jezebel doesn't come into your life asking if you want to destroy another person for money or take part in a huge illegal operation that exploits the innocent for your gain. Oh no. She comes in like a friend when you're in need or hurting. Possibly even have engineered the situation behind the scenes that made you hurt in the first place to get you into that vulnerable mind state. A Jezebel spirit is one of the most cunning and manipulative spirits that plagues mankind today. Because this kind of person that has a Jezebel, or is a Jezebel, they are the kind of person where they can do the most outrageous thing that in any normal setting would be unacceptable. But they will somehow have the most logical explanation of all time. And by the time they're done with it, you'll be like, oh, okay, well, I guess that kind of makes sense. Especially when you trust this person and give them the benefit of the doubt. She will convince you to act in a way that goes against your moral compass, or cleverly coerce you with suggestions and strategically planned comments and questions framed in such a way that you will think that you came up with the idea yourself. And then she will provide you with the justification that you need for why you're behaving in that way. And deep down, you know that it's wrong. So you do something that you believe is not the right thing to do. You know that you should not live your life that way, but she will have the perfect explanation as to why it was necessary for you to do it at that time. The ends will justify the means, which is never actually true. And it'll start with something small. But once you compromise your morals and values once, it'll be easier for you to be swayed to do it the next time. And it's one compromise at a time. They progress, and before you know it, your whole life is out of control. You're battling addictions and obstacles that you've never faced before with no way out. Because she's undoubtedly been collecting information to use to blackmail you with or convince you not to go against her. So you make little compromises, one at a time, and now you don't have a choice. There's no way out. Individuals who have been taken advantage of in their life or not appreciated, valued, loved, etc. have opened doors that Jezebel loves to jump in. And if you have a bitterness about it, even better. She begins feeding you the whispers of, if you only had more money, if you only had more power, if you only had a better position, if you only had the money to pay for an attorney, so on and so forth. She lures you in talking about your problems with her, putting her in the perfect position to comfort you. I'm sorry. That must be so hard. I'm so sorry. The world's not fair. Come here. Let's talk about it. They incite gossip and drama. They do nothing to challenge you to grow in any area. They're actually enabling you to stay in toxic behaviors that are destructive to your body, mind, and soul, and framing it as care and help. All of these women, and possibly men, that I describe when I tell my story are working through a Jezebel spirit, or I should say a Jezebel spirit is working through them. A Jezebel spirit is a narcissist. A narcissist is a Jezebel spirit. And all of these people are that. Like I said previously, this man never stood a chance. So it began with a smear campaign, doesn't it always? The quiet war they waged with whispers, lies, and carefully planted gossip. They started painting me as some entitled, stuck-up gold digger, a fake nice manipulator with hidden motives. They twisted my name in their mouths, spinning tales of promiscuity, cheating, and various false narratives to make me the villain, as if I was using him for money or validation. I'm sure that I still haven't even heard the half of it, and I'm perfectly okay with that, because what I have heard was bad enough. These people took it so far. They did the absolute most, everything you can imagine, and more. Creating fake profiles, forged conversations, fabricated screenshots, manufactured evidence meant to make me look like a drug-addicted prostitute, pretending to be sweet and spiritual. It was character assassination, plain and simple. And it worked. Why? Because these people already carried hidden resentment towards me. So they were more than willing to believe this false narrative. They didn't question it. They didn't fact check. They wanted it to be true. Believing the lies made them feel justified in their hidden animosity that they were already harboring towards me. If I was a terrible person, then it gave them permission in their mind to project their own insecurities onto me, to demonize me without feeling guilty, and to attack me without an actual cause. It was more comfortable to hate a version of me that didn't exist than to confront the truth of who I actually was. Ironically, the ones spreading these lies were really just describing themselves, their own hidden behaviors, their own masks. But after repeating the narrative long enough and poisoning enough ears, people just started accepting it as truth. Started to seep into my counterpart's mind, assisted by massive amounts of black magic, of course. He began to doubt me, question my intentions, second-guess my heart, and eventually view me as the enemy. And while this confusion took root and all this was going on, is when his mother made her move. She assisted this psychopathic, karmic ex back into his life under the guise of a, quote, friend. Someone who could, quote, help him sort out his relationship, offer to help him with our connection, but it obviously was never about helping anybody but her. It was about sabotaging and getting close enough where she could get to me through him, which was always her main priority. He had shared too much with his friends, his family, innocently, blindly, not understanding that everyone who smiles in your face is not your friend. These people are expert deceivers, mass manipulators, and the level at which they can hide their true nature is truly disturbing. I believe that this all stems from a deep-seated trauma and having one's emotions or needs neglected when they're growing up. And as a result, the child's psyche will have formed a kind of protective strategy. Your ego is mainly there to protect your mental state, creating defense mechanisms to keep you safe and in your comfort zone. And it too likes to have control. It all goes back to control. My person had to control everything. They say when a child experiences something they are not mentally equipped to process, their ego will create a defense mechanism to protect your psyche from what you can't deal with. And that's where splitting comes in. BPD, narcissism, etc. The person kind of creates an alter ego or reality that they can escape into and keep it separate from their day-to-day. And that is how they're able to do these terrible things to people that they claim to love and not feel bad about it and still tell themselves that they're a good person. There is also an extreme amount of emotional immaturity here, to a level where my personal view on it would be like, these people just need to grow the fuck up. But that's my opinion, and that is heavily influenced by my emotions, I'm sure. So, focusing back on this masculine. For starters, this man likes to be fought over by other women. He has some fantasy about girls fighting over him. Whatever. Sure, I get it. But here, he set up two women against each other, tells them both very different stories, knowing that one of them is like a dog and will literally do anything he wants her to. Literally anything. And he knows this. He uses it to his advantage. He also knows that she has always felt inferior to the other woman, which would be me. So, he would talk down about me, join in with her when she would say degrading things about me, or at least not correct her. So, he plays her in one way, and then me in another way, which is, in my case, presenting himself to be upright, a protector, a good partner, and someone who doesn't have third parties, or fourth, fifth, 27th, that kind of thing. Because he's always known that that would not work for me, and I would be out. I would have been out from day one. So he has to have one face with me, one face with her, and then I guess he has a whole other face, which, from what I can see, is basically a sadistic child. So he has this fantasy of being fought over, which makes him, quote, so desirable, which is absolutely crazy that this man would even think that he would have to do all of this to be desirable. The level of insecurity that resides within him is not only insane and unnecessary, it's a fucking crime. Because who this man is at his core is literally the most amazing and beautiful person that you could ever imagine. He's intelligent, he's funny, he's fun to be around, he has a light about him, just as all divine beings do. He's sweet, kind, and gentle, but also extremely physically strong and able. He doesn't talk a lot to most people, but with me, he can have deep, insightful conversations about just about anything and everything. He's good with his hands. He's a jack of all trades. Anything that he applies himself at, he will excel at. And I could go on. And he's absolutely gorgeous. Seriously, so freaking handsome. Does that sound like someone who should be insecure? Absolutely fucking not. But tragically, I was not aware that he pretty much has the most evil mother you could even imagine. And I don't really think he was aware of it either. I don't think he still understands the lengths that this woman went to destroy everything in his life and sabotage every single good thing that he could ever dream of having. And she's deep in the occult and associated with Masons, Eastern Stars, something like that. And so is her brother and various other members of their family. And I never would have believed it if God hadn't shown me and it hadn't been verified to me so many times. My counterpart has no idea. This man's mother envied me, and I had no idea. Why? Because I embody everything that she pretended to be. Everything she has to put so much effort into pretending to be, I am effortlessly. And that truth stirred up this immense rage towards me and her. And the same goes for these others. Another deeply disturbing aspect of this entire situation is the fact that he was intentionally sabotaged, set up, and betrayed by nearly everyone around him. Mother, sister, sociopathic ex, even his so-called friends. One by one, they aligned against him. And the worst part, they all knew. They knew he loved me. They knew what we shared was real, something rare, the kind of love that exposes emptiness and everything counterfeit. And rather than celebrate it and then find it for themselves, they envied it and tried to destroy it. They couldn't stand seeing him to choose something genuine, so they set out to ruin it. And of course, the ones in his family did not want him to be happy or successful in life because he's unknowingly the family's scapegoat and sacrifice. Most of the people involved in this were just pawns, flying monkeys, tragic casualties of a much darker agenda orchestrated by the true ringleaders. 3 witches, and I quite literally mean witches, conspired together, or most likely went along with the plan that his mother had already begun weaving, and this ex had probably been laying her own traps for a while, waiting for the right moment to strike. So when this proposition came in, it seemed like she had won the lottery, I'm sure, because now she had powerful allies to help her in her quest to steal what was destined to be mine while destroying me in the process. There's nothing more threatening to someone who's wearing a mask than someone who shows up in the full light of their authenticity, because real exposes fake without even trying. I didn't have to prove anything. Just being myself, unapologetically, was enough to unravel these people's illusions and trigger them to a point that's unimaginable to me. So, these women, and whoever else was involved, decided that they needed to get rid of me. The exact order of the process and how it all came together is unknown to me, and I really don't think that it matters at this point. But in whatever way that was, these people were brought together because of similar desires and a goal that they all shared, destroying me to a point where I'd be out of the picture, and they could maintain control over my counterpart. This sociopathic ex of his kept it hidden from him that she had this deep-seated hatred and resentment towards me. I didn't even know the girl, and I definitely did not view her as a competitor or a rival, because in any kind of normal setting, she would not have been. But nothing about this situation was anything close to normal. I didn't know her that well, but she seemed to know me. This unjustified hatred apparently stemmed back to elementary school when she saw me and my family at a first communion. She was dealing with some emotional pain as a result of her own family breaking apart, and seeing me with my parents together looking like, quote, the perfect family, triggered her in a way that made her have this animosity towards me that I was completely unaware of. This carried on through the years, me being blissfully unaware of it the whole time. I knew who she was. I remember her being cold towards me back in elementary school. I had friends in my friend group that were friends with her friend group, and we were talking like 6th grade and before. I never gave this girl a second thought. I never would have imagined that she resented me for things that were beyond my control and probably not even correct. Last year, when I was doing some shadow work, I had it revealed to me that a mildly traumatizing incident I experienced on the first day of 6th grade was not an accident, but in fact, this person had actually done it intentionally. I was wearing white limited 2 capris, and I had a Nachos Lunchable, so we'll just leave it at that. Anyways, I digress. Focusing back on this highly strategic plan of having your cake and eating it too. Basically, to sum it up, he has the other woman, the third party, the lapdog, who is to attack me while he's using her influence to make me jealous, so I'll chase him or fight over him. Maybe try harder, whatever the case is. Me being the upright one with morals and values, the one that he actually was after but just didn't know how to go about it. Mostly because he doesn't know how to be honest or vulnerable, or even how to express his emotions in a healthy manner that isn't destructive in some way to himself or those around him. Because of the trauma, psychological wounds, and his fucking sadistic witch mother intentionally inflicting them, and various other aspects of traumatic experiences, I'm sure. So basically, from what I can see, the plan was to make us fight over him. She's somehow revealed as a rival, she attacks me in whatever way that is, and I'm heartbroken and need to be coddled or saved. So I cry, boo-hoo. He comforts me, but then also probably goes back and comforts her in a different way. There also could be an aspect of me being jealous that he was dealing with someone else behind the scenes, and then chasing or trying harder to prove myself, as if that would have happened. This man quite simply does not understand women of class and value that have morals and who live in alignment with their values because he's never been around any. So when he's with this karmic, he's leaning into his shadow side more, which is an extreme need for control that is not a far cry from being sadistic. Talking shit about me, making fun of me with her, even though in his mind, he thinks she's a fucking joke. And he's actually mesmerized by me. He has respect and admiration, whether he admits it or not. But he doesn't let her catch on to that, or so he believes, because that would not work with his plan. So then this would go back and forth for, I don't know, his whole life maybe, if he would have been able to pull it off. I still don't know exactly what the end game was. I definitely think that I was supposed to react differently. I was supposed to break down. I was meant to cry. I was supposed to need him. Oh, she's attacking me. Help, please come protect me. But what he didn't count on was the fact that I saw him. I saw her. I saw the whole thing. I'm not going to be vulnerable and ask somebody to protect me who is literally helping someone to attack me behind the scenes, who's actually indirectly orchestrating the attacks. Now here's another plot twist. He didn't realize that the person who he chose to be his lapdog, this crazy fucking psycho bitch, is beyond his control, and that she had her own plan the whole time. because she wasn't the sweet little naive stupid thing that he thought she was. He didn't think she was all the way stupid. He thought she was smart enough to pull this off, but he didn't realize that she was going to turn out to be absolutely fucking crazy, or that she had some vendetta against me because of how she viewed me as superior to her and was insanely jealous of how he loved me, or that she would do all sorts of witchcraft and summon literal demons to sabotage our connection, try to get rid of me so she could take my place, and to possess him so she could control him. And then also work with his mother, who's very skilled in the occult and would be able to show her all kinds of dark tactics and metaphysical practices to attack both of us behind the scenes in our own individual ways. He didn't see any of that. I still don't know if he does. But if he doesn't, he will. Eventually. He has no choice. God will show him. God will show everybody. Everyone will be forced to see exactly what has happened and who was involved and in what way. And these people that want to keep fighting it and not looking at the truth, avoiding their shadow, it's just going to be harder for them. It's going to be fucking hard, and it's going to be embarrassing, because that's how that works. If you don't willingly look at the truth, you will be forced to see it, and so will everyone else. And it will be fucking embarrassing, because you wanted to fight it the whole time. So now when that tower hits, everyone's going to see everything for exactly what it is. And at that point, there's no getting out of it, because you've already been given grace period after grace period after grace period. God allows us so many opportunities to just do the right thing, to look at yourself and to recognize how selfish and horrible you've been acting. But when you refuse to do that and you just say, no, it's not my fault, it's their fault, I'm a good person, they deserved it, you're just going to get the fucking hammer. And that's exactly what's happening now in this situation. So this actually all stems from this person, my counterpart, being attracted to me in a way that he never felt before. He actually loved me. He genuinely wanted to get vulnerable and be intimate. He considered putting his old ways behind him and partnering with me the way that we are meant to. Get married, buy a house, have kids, the whole thing. But his defense mechanism kicked in. And possibly initiated by these psychopathic fucking bitches. Which, unfortunately, he decided to keep in his life because he thought that was a good move. Not realizing that it would ruin everything, and that's exactly what he's about to find out. He didn't understand that they were only pretending to have his best interests at heart while working together behind the scenes to literally manipulate, pressure, and coerce him into sabotaging what he actually wanted most in the world. Which is understandable, because who would suspect that the people who are closest to you as capable of doing such a thing? Probably no one, until they're put through a situation like this. That was part of it. But the other part is he just didn't want to grow up. He didn't want to stop receiving the attention and validation that came from staying connected to these people. So these bitches that he wanted to keep around for purely selfish reasons are now ruining his life. They've already tried to ruin mine, and they did a pretty good job at it. But I bounced back. I have God. So now, it's his turn to have his life destroyed. Broken into pieces because he refuses to look at the truth. He doesn't want to see that these people are literally destroying his entire life. And they have been the whole reason our connection went so off. And they've been secretly trying to get rid of me behind the scenes without his knowledge. He still doesn't even know the whole picture concerning all these psychopaths that make up his inner circle, and how they had this agenda and worked together in secret behind his back to make him change the way that he viewed me. And I never realized how others viewed me, or how women, or people in general, really saw me. These women were all insanely jealous of me and our connection. Since I didn't see myself clearly at that point in time, I never even could have dreamed that something like this was possible. It sounds like something out of a movie. It doesn't even sound realistic. No, people don't act like that for no reason. Oh, yes, the fuck they do. I knew that I had a lot to offer. I'm intelligent, loyal, fun, and I take care of myself. I'm a hustler. I've always got it on my own. I don't need anyone to take care of me. I'm intuitive, creative. I have a childlike way of looking at the world and finding the good in it. I can make anything fun when I'm with the right person. I have the ability to look at situations and see what needs to be done to improve it, to move forward. More so with others than myself. But regardless, I give good advice. I genuinely am kind and want to help others. I enjoy helping people and making things better for them, especially when it's the ones that I love. I'm good at everything that I do if I apply myself to it. Whatever arena I am in, I will work as hard as I can to excel at it, not because I want to one-up others or be seen as the best, but because I genuinely take pride in myself when I work hard to achieve something and I'm successful at it. I take pride in myself because I put immense time, energy, and effort into becoming someone who is trustworthy, loyal, honest, and who does the right thing even when no one is looking. I've never really understood people who harbor jealousy. Of course, I felt jealous before. It's a natural human emotion that we feel when we see something we want that someone else has. But I didn't ever feel like stewing in my jealousy and allowing it to fester while I felt more and more angry or depressed was beneficial in any way. By the time I had turned 30, I had figured out that if I looked at something and it was going to make me feel hurt or angry, then I probably shouldn't look at that thing if I could help it. To me, that was common sense. Why would I intentionally do something that I know was going to make me upset if I did? Assuming that most other adults also had the same thought process was my mistake. I was brought up to believe that most people in the world are good, and that they, like myself, want the best for others and strive to do the right thing. This warped belief system was the foundation for the majority of the problems I had for so many years. It put me at an extreme disadvantage because I was too trusting, too giving, and too kind. Mix my naivety with the fact that I was unknowingly experiencing some form of ugly duckling syndrome, meaning I didn't know that people viewed me as beautiful, and you have a recipe for a whole disaster. And that's exactly what I got. When these people came into my life, I had just started coming into myself. I just was starting to gain confidence and see myself as the amazing person that I am. Prior to that, I had always been a little shy and unsure of myself, but going through hell and back with my oldest daughter's father and battling addiction for years and then getting back on my feet gave me a new confidence and belief in myself, and I was happy with myself. These kinds of people that I was around resented me for it, claiming that every genuine or praiseworthy thing I did was for attention or because I thought I was better than everyone. I had no idea anyone even felt like that because they were always smiling in my face and acting nice. I was just getting to a place where I was starting to understand how rare I was. But what I still did not understand is that the people around me had already known that, and they hated me because of it. He refused to let go of these people that kept harming him and me. And he refuses to grow or change or even do anything different or attempt to. And there's nothing that you can do for somebody like that. They have to do it. They have to learn. And if they don't, that's not your problem. I know I did all that I could, and it almost killed me. So I think it's safe to say that this plan backfired. I didn't react the way that I was supposed to, and that's because I can see them. As soon as these people lose the benefit of the doubt, or you believing that they're a good person, it's over for them. Everything that they've done all along becomes instantly clear. You can see the whole game. That's the one main thing that these people have failed to grasp, is that I can see them. I see them clearly. I see what they're doing. I see what they've done. I see who they are. Now, their games don't work on me because I can see right through it. None of these tactics work. I literally see through them. It's like turning the lights on at a magic show. You can see all the wires. You can see the trapdoors. You can see everything. And that's what I have. It's called discernment. That is my connection to the divine, to the Holy Spirit. This plan was never going to work for these people. It was never meant to. It was meant to break them out of their karmic patterns, but instead they decided to play with their demons. So now it's going to be extra hard for them. You can't just play with demons and not pay for it. You can't. It's not going to work out good for you. So basically this whole thing goes down to the avoidance of vulnerability, intimacy, and accountability, an extreme need to do shadow work that has been ignored, and people who don't want to grow up, don't want to admit when they're wrong, don't want to change, and don't want to treat people like they're actual human beings. And this is where this ends for these people, in a clusterfuck of chaos and pain. All of that is the influence of the Jezebel spirit. This big storm that's coming, this tower of all towers, it's going to knock these people down, and most of them will not get back up because it's that big. There's so much energy. There's so much bad karma that's been racked up by these people just being evil, for lack of a better word. Just being evil to someone who didn't deserve it, who never did anything to them, who really didn't do anything ever to anyone. They chose to attack a person who all they did was try and live their life, better themselves, and who genuinely tried to show kindness and love towards these people. Because when you treat someone like that with this level of contempt and this much malice, you don't get away with that. You don't get away unscathed. Nobody will. No one that had a hand in this, no one who viewed it from the outside and didn't do anything to stop it, will get away unscathed after the dust settles. Nothing will be the same. It will change everything. It will change these people. It will change their lives. And it's a shame that people have to go that far to learn that lesson, but it is what it is. They're going to get taken out with their own energy going back to them. That's how karma works. You get exactly what you put out, and that's what they're going to get. And if there's nothing we can do to stop it, and I wouldn't if I fucking could. These people need an ass whooping. Metaphorically, well, some of them physically too. All I can say is that I hope this tower that's coming will wake some of these people up out of the extremely damaging and toxic illusions that they've lived under for so long, and bring them to a point of clarity, accountability, and repentance, so they can start their journey of going down their destined path to find actual joy and fulfillment. But whatever happens to these people after this is out of my hands. I have full confidence in the fact that the Most High is going to create something beautiful when it comes to my life and my journey, because I did the work, I learned my lessons, I was obedient, and I stayed true to myself and God's plan for me. So I'm going to end it here. God loves you. I love you. Remember to stay prayed up. Forgive others. Forgive yourself. Love yourself. Love others. I hope you have a good day. And I'll see you on the next one.